It's not surprising that many people living in the past make their connections with old cars. So here are two stories about restoration. In one case, of an automotive tradition, and in the other, an automotive disaster.
By way of introduction,
I am Edsel, 60 Edsel, E. Ford.
Edsel Ford with his Edsel Ford.
It's kind of a reverse status symbol. I've always said that it's a classic car with a beer pocketbook.
How does it feel to own an Edsel?
It's like falling in love.
1958, Ford Motor Company proudly launched what would later be called the Titanic of motor cars.
You never saw a car like the 58 Edsel.
Now imagine if your name just happened to be Edsel Ford, how would you feel?
I want one.
So now he has a 58 Pacer, a 59 Villager, a 59 Sedan,
Even I could fit in that trunk.
a 58 hardtop, a rare 1960, and then one more for parts, as if he needed them.
Over here we have a few transmissions, steering wheels, manifolds and heads, drive shafts galore. And how about this? Front end of a 58 Edsel, that would clean up very nice.
Clearly, Ford Edsels have taken over Edsel Ford. That's a logo blaring out the front of his house. He's renamed the driveway. The good times don't get much better than this.
You get a thrill from the Edsel.
It'll move.
No other cars like the Edsel.
Everybody likes attention, and we all have our own way of getting it.
And Mr. Ford has his. Mom and Dad could have named him Bentley, or Hudson, or Chevy, but they didn't, and he's lived his life accordingly. Once upon a time in the days before OPEC, a simple trip to the gas station could be an exercise in personal power.
How you doing today? All right. Fill it up for you?
But these days, things have supposedly changed, though not at Marshall's Chevron, where full service isn't just a slogan, it's an assault.
Turn your high beams on.
Okay, ma'am, your oil's fine.
You got a little bit of a stubble there on that beard.
You like that, huh? I got in trouble for that this morning.
Fresh coffee? How about a newspaper? This may not be the Army, but here they do things by the book.
No loafing, stay busy, and if there's any trouble, see the boss.
There you go. That's Larry Marshall, a second-generation service station owner who learned this business in the 1950s.
Is this the way it should be?
Yes, everywhere.
Why don't people do it?
Lazy?
But not here, on the principle of why lean when you can clean. Everything is spick and span. Walls and windows washed once a day. Award-winning performance.
This place is pretty clean today.
No, that's not clean to me. That's filthy.
Tough standards, but people seem to like them. And despite slightly higher prices, business has tripled.
Well, I won't go to the help yourself kind. That's out.
You like this place?
I like them to wait on me hand and foot.
They do your feet?
They could.
Full service, a novel idea. What once was old is new again. And then there are other times when something old just gets older, withering away in slow decay. It can be especially painful when it's the last of its kind. This ship is an example. She stands out on the Sausalito shoreline, an artifact high and dry. Wapama.
I can't believe that these things were built in 8 months.
What took 8 months to build in 1915 will take Michael Harrington years to restore. Her boilers and many of the fittings are rusting. Her Douglas fir rotting. But she's a National Historic Landmark, and in the eyes of the National Park Service Maritime Museum, worth saving. Wapama is the last of the wooden coastal steamers.
She's a one-of-a-kind. You will see the tool marks from the craftspeople. You will see a style of building that cannot be seen in other vessels today.
Below deck, she could carry more than 1 million board feet of lumber. She would travel between San Diego and Portland, a trip that might take 8 or 9 days. First-class passengers shared cabins and amenities. They took their meals in the mess and paid a $3 fare. Wapama was a working-class ship, and years later, that's part of her charm.
It's preserving what we have. You'll never have these anymore. It's not the Love Boat, but to me, it's a beauty.
And that's why any day of the week, volunteers work on her. There's Dave Martinez, a physician. And down below, Whitey Hewley, who used to sail on these ships years ago. Do you miss it?
In a way, yeah. And in another way, no. I've had enough.
I don't think so. You're still here.
Well, it's, yeah. It's hard to, I guess you're right. Maybe I do miss it in a way.
Wapama, old ships need not always die. Sometimes they live well beyond their time.
And then there are people who live in the past because they regret something about the past. Often it isn't so much what they did as what they didn't do. Which brings us to the heartwarming story of a truly determined woman.
In most lives, there is this ceremony.
Is the tape in the right place?
For 11 Geyserville High School seniors, graduation came right on time. For the 12th, it came 61 years late.
Are you nervous?
Yes. Well, am I not supposed to be?
Josephine Del Sarto is 79. For her, this ceremony fulfills a lifetime dream.
I really have no really fundamental reason except that I wanted to have that diploma.
The story begins at the old Geyserville High School in 1926. Josephine got sick. The rest of the class graduated without her. She got married and raised a family, but always missed that high school diploma.
Chapter 1 of the Good Earth.
Her studies combined classroom work with lectures to elementary school students about Geyserville history.
Yes, I had lots of friends.
And today she has many more. Her accomplishment, a lesson for everyone here.
My most heartfelt thanks goes to my family. My husband, Hank, my children, my grandchildren, and my 8 great-grandchildren, and they're all present here tonight.
You earned this.
The best things in life, they still lie ahead for this year's graduates. Careers, families, children. Joe Del Sarto has done those things already.
God. Oh, dear.
For her, this rite of passage falls out of sequence. This diploma, a symbol, the prize for holding on to her dreams.
Oh, I got it! I got it!
Congratulations.
Right now we're riding along in something we all take for granted these days, a self-service elevator. Now, I don't know if people ever spoke to each other in these things, but there used to be someone who spoke to you, and it wasn't a beeper.
Come right in, my dear. Come right in.
And enter the time capsule.
What floor, please?
Her name is Mary Frazer, and her world, a 4x4 by 8-foot box, the elevator in San Francisco's Huntington Hotel.
Well, they call me an institution here. Everybody says I'm an institution, whatever that means.
It means she's been doing this almost 41 years. To our knowledge, no person in the Western world has more round trips in an elevator.
Number 9, my dear.
The hotel installed automatic elevators 10 years ago, but keeps Mary on anyway. Regulars say it wouldn't be the same without her.
I love you. Bye, darling.
That's Siskoff. Siskoff. That's his name.
What's he do?
Siskoff. He's an opera star. He was
By now, you may have noticed a steady stream of conversation. In her 4 decades, Mary has endeared herself to many famous people.
Oh, I've been kissed by Pavarotti, Domingo, Carl Malden and his wife.
Here's what she told Henry Ford II 20 years ago.
I said, if you build a smaller car and get more miles to the gallon, I says, I would buy a car. He didn't do it, you know. The Japanese did it first, you see. If he'd have followed my advice, he would have made billions.
Mary Frazer, one of a kind, one of the last, linking past with present in an elevator.
Bye. Have a pleasant trip. Very nice. Yeah, have to know where they're going, you know, my dear.
Finally, there are things from the past which improve with time, things of history and tradition, things inherited or passed along. They may be inanimate objects, but their owners would say they have lives and souls of their own.
Stradivarius, In the world of classical music, no sound is sweeter, no instrument more revered, and no player more fortunate than soloist Jimmy Lynn. He owns one.
It's like befriending somebody. Takes a while to know them. Here I am. I have a great violin. I'm going to stay with it till the day I die. And that's the kind of feeling I have towards my instrument.
It is a feeling shared by every member of this orchestra, a sentimentality, but not for Jimmy's instrument, for their own.
It's like a work of art that gets passed on and on and on.
Robin McKee plays a 14-karat gold flute that belonged to her grandfather, and before that, to his teacher, a famous soloist with the Cleveland Orchestra.
Ever since I was a little girl, this is the instrument I always saw sitting around the house when we'd go to visit.
The flute inspired Robin to take lessons and become a professional, and only then did grandfather give it to her.
I'm definitely attached to this one because of its heritage and what it's meant to my whole family.
In fact, every instrument on this stage has a lineage. Their ages combine into thousands of years, and their value in the millions of dollars. Steve Tramontazzi and his bass.
Because it's so responsive, and because it has such a very vocal sound, I feel that it's part of me. The more I play it, the more I get to know it, the more I do on it, I feel that it's really my voice coming out through the instrument.
A member of the Vancouver Symphony played it before Steve, someone in the BBC before that, and somewhere back in time, another owner scratched his name and address into the maple. The bass is at least 200 years old, a tribute to the man who made it.
I think it would be interesting to try to put myself in the position of the maker of this instrument back in the mid-1700s, trying to imagine where his instrument's going to end up in 200 years. And I don't think he could imagine that it would be in the New World in California.
Classical pedigrees. From one generation to the next, the music endures, the instruments endure, only the players change.
And that's California Offbeat this time, our visit to the past with people who try to live it, or collect it, or restore it, or pass it along. I'm Wayne Freedman saying thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the future.